come to talk about envelopes. This whole time that I've been shooting, I've just had the amp envelope set to sustain, which gives us this on-off sound. But obviously, we have the ability to set a DADSR envelope to a variety of things, including the amp, which we haven't done thus far, but we will do right now. So I could, put a mild attack and decay and a low sustain and release. Now, we do have a delay, and we can certainly use that on the amp. So if you want to delay when your sound comes in, you can. And that's a lot of fun. So that's basically what's happening with the amp. Obviously, the amp, we have the target knob here, but since this is a dedicated envelope, both the filter and the amp are dedicated. They only go to the one thing that they're labeled, but that we do get the chance to use loop with our amp envelope. So when you press loop, it will cause that envelope to repeat over and over again, making it basically a complex LFO. So let's hear what happens. I did not retrigger it. And if you mess with the settings, you can get it to happen sooner. So now you can get it to actually play for you. You'll notice something that I was just playing. Did you notice that the 3 notes that I was holding had the same envelope, but then the 2 notes I was adding had different envelopes? That's because, like I said, when you're in P2, each oscillator has its own VCA, so you can actually get cool things like that to happen. So that's a really cool effect, and that's just us dealing right now with our amp envelope. I mean, that's how much fun we're having just with that. Now we can definitely go over to our filter envelope and start messing with that. And we can loop that as well. You can always add delay. Take off the loop. Here, let's switch. So that's a pretty cool sound, actually. Kind of distorting a little bit there. Let's turn it down. So, yep, obviously you can control the filter with this thing. And let's not stop there. Let's head off into the world where we have 3 square waves that are in desperate need of pulse width modulation. So let's take envelope 1, and we can do one of 2 things. We can choose the target with the target knob. And then pow, our envelope will do a large amount. We're going to have to take that filter off so we can hear it. Whoops, we were in digital. Okay, so now you can hear the pulse width modulation, which is cool. We can also loop that if we'd like. So it acts as an LFO, which is certainly convenient, but we don't have to. Now we could do a thing that we should have done a long time ago. Let's also head on over to our wavetable, and we'll control that with the envelopes as well. I've chosen 2. I'm going to turn the amount way up so we can notice the difference. We can also choose a target in another way by holding down the envelope we're working on's button and nudging the knob we want it to affect, like this. There. Now, envelope 2 button, envelope 2 is controlling the wavetable. So we can do something interesting with that. Let's only listen to. Let's take the filter amount off so we can hear this. Oh, here's why we're not hearing anything, Mark. Gotta put the digital. We have to put it on wavetable. So it's a very subtle effect because of which. Let's find a wavetable that's a little more overt. And let's not forget that over here in this little window, this window shows us what all of our envelopes are doing and all of our LFOs. So all the envelopes over here to the left, so you can actually see the voltage of the envelope represented in a bar. So we can see when envelope 2 is going to loop. It's going down. Oh, we don't have it on loop, so we'll never see it loop. But if we did have it on loop, here's what it would look like. Okay, it's going up. And falling. And there it goes again. So yeah, that's the sound of your envelope controlling your wavetable. You can hear some interesting harmonics adding different notes to the chord, actually. So if we go back to having the filter control the cutoff point as well, and we bring in the analog oscillators that are also being pulse width modulated. Now we're losing the wavetable because the filter closed too much. Here, let's try that again. Okay, remember before when I said, okay, when we start adding in the modulation, the play modes, and the wavetable and everything's going to really liven this whole thing up. This is what I'm talking about. Sounds that are this complex, sounds that you would never ever get from just an analog polysynth, you can get from this, and you're mixing in analog polysynth sounds with these wavetable sounds, and they're beautiful. And then we could go into the P2 mode. Let's find something down here. Let's go back to our amplitude. In that instance I just played, you could hear the filter retriggering even when the amplitude of the individual notes of the chord didn't, which is where that's kind of your vaguely paraphonic moment. It's not true paraphony, but yeah, the filter is acting in a paraphonic way, even though there are individual amps for every oscillator. It makes super beautiful noises. But anyway, so yes, you can definitely use the envelopes to control a number of functions. I really need to show you a list of the functions you can control with the envelope, but it's pretty much everything. And you can loop it, which makes it at least three of them, actually all five of them, into looping LFOs to the things they're directed to, whether it's the fixed location, such as the filter and amp, or the variable locations that you can set. You can set them by turning your target once you've selected them, or just by selecting them, then holding them down, and then turning the knob you want them to affect, which allows you to control a huge amount of things with them. You can certainly control frequency of oscillators, various functionalities down here, noise, color, pulse width, wavetable, and yeah, even cutoff, resonance, anything you want, you can really control it with these. So the envelope section is super powerful for a synthesizer, and it's really fun and leads to some really beautiful and cool sounds. Yeah, you could hear the envelopes hitting the pulse width in that, and the wavetable, and of course the amplitude and the filter. So yeah, that's your envelope section on the Medusa, and I barely even scratched the surface of the creative ways you can apply